I'm going to start recording. I remember to do that. So, and I'm going to just back over to, okay, looks like everybody's in the proper classroom. So again, Lillian, thank you for letting us know that some people were over in the other classroom. If I put an end date on the Collaborate, I've been told it disappears. So that's why it's still there as it says available. So always come into the current date of the session. And again, this is going to be held at 3 o'clock to about 4, maybe a little bit later. I will just say that things are still being created in your course shell. The PowerPoints are all in place. The quizzes are all in place. And I believe that the quizzes that I opened up so rapidly last week are actually the quizzes for the first 2 weeks. So you can have time to take those. Make sure I am still working on lectures behind the PowerPoints. I want to lecture over the PowerPoints. I have banged into production issues, working with just learning the hoops of online teaching. If I make it in Collaborate, I'm trying to move them over into YouTube so I can push the button for closed captioning very easily and readily. So I am still working through that, and many of you emailed me about where did you do your homework submission, and I just don't think I ever opened up a journal for you. So several of you have emailed that to me. I will put those scores into place. I will respond. If you send it to me on email, I will respond on the email side. If I open up a journal and still have submissions there for the homework, if you've sent it to me on email, you don't have to redo it. I will give you your scores there, and I will let you know that. But I am hoping to have the journal as the spot in the future, so for the current week. Okay. I'm going to share a screen. As I do that, I will probably ask that somebody responds on a mic to say that, let me just see here. Oh, I'll just keep that other session open for a moment. Sure as I look for somebody in a second. But I want to share a screen about where we are with the course. Okay. Okay, and your learning modules. So can you see the screen? Somebody on a microphone say yes.
Yes.
Good, all right.
Yes.
So again, just as a reminder, so behind the weekly participation pages, so I have week 2 that was loaded up late last night. Again, I highly recommend that you certainly download that. Handwriting answers, if you can print it out, is going to probably make the information stick in your brain just a little bit better. That's all the studies that are out there. If you want to use it and type answers in, then that is going to turn out eventually to be the journal upload. So again, this is the week 2 to help support the material that I loaded up a little, opened up last night. So there are still going to be behind material that you looked at all on your lonesome, besides our joint introduction on the PDF last week, the introduction item. You worked through anatomical planes and directions and cavities between you and the PDF file and your textbook. I'm still hoping to do a talk-over lecture on that. And I will load it behind this week 1 activity. And when I do have that up, or have a couple of them posted, I will send an announcement, okay? So you don't have to keep looking unless, or check an announcement first. And then the veterinary professional, I'm still hoping to give talkovers on some of those. I'm just finding that every day is a learning curve as I try to do a video, and then I'm trying to send them into YouTube to get the closed captioning. And at first I didn't even think I had a YouTube account, but I discovered I did. And now it's a daily discover of the new things to do in YouTube. And believe me, I am still just learning it. So I will come back hopefully with some talkovers, speakovers on those. And if you haven't tried the quizzes, maybe wait till those are loaded. Okay, so week 2, and I'm actually going to take us into one of these items. Okay, so week 2, on the medical terminology, you're going to actually start coming in. I'm hoping to actually take us through this assembling a framework this today during this next hour. But there is a prefix list and a suffix list that I highly recommend that you download, save, and if you're into printing things, I still love paper, I would print those out. They're well worth your reference, I think. Next to you, there will be probably quizzes that reflect off of them. They are not to be necessarily memorized all at this point, but as the weeks will go on, prefixes will go in, or you'll be introduced to prefixes and suffixes. In fact, in a few minutes, you're going to understand a lot more about those. You will want, I will guarantee you want those next to you, okay? You don't see the bottom one because that's not open to you. And then so I opened these areas up last night for your viewing pleasure, okay? A little later, and I'm hoping to try to open these things up at least on Sunday for you. But you're going to be talking about professionalism this week, looking at laws and regulations and ethics, and about medical records. And then the animals are sheep breeds. So you had cattle breeds last week and sheep breeds. And yes, you can see that I have a very ambitious plate before me to try to do some lecture talkovers on all of these. But I really would like to be able to disseminate from my brain to your brains important information. And there's items in these PowerPoints that are, or the PDFs, that you really are critical to know. Remember that for a test. And then there's other items that we've put in there that are more like rounding out information to you. So that's also what I want to kind of talk about. So those items are up. You will get the directive for a journal. So if there is a journal, there will probably be a tab within that area. I might utilize the summer online course presentation instead. I might put the journal entry there. I will try to be as clear as possible when I put the announcement out when I make that decision. So there might be like 12 journal entries, or maybe 24, depending on how I want to make that information. I'm still grappling with some of this course. When the journal entries do go up, you can also catch journals from over on the tab on the left-hand side. That's also where you can certainly catch up on announcements, find your Collaborate Ultra, find your grades. That's where you will get to your quizzes, highlight that. So you have both of these quizzes, and I'll double check the syllabus if the other 2 quizzes open this week. I need to look at the syllabus and double check that timeline. All of that will come out to you in an announcement. So I appreciate you bearing with me as I'm moving this course that used to be always in the classroom, which now I'm thinking is a much easier way of presenting material than sitting here online and talking to a screen and thinking I'm going crazy. All right, but I'm not going crazy. So with that, I want to check here. Everybody happy? So I hope that you can understand where you're going to find things. They will either be behind the week or more than likely the presentation materials. And I might open up another module. That's what this little gray thing is, a module, like the summer online course says. I might open one up that says journal entries. And then behind each weekly journal entry, it will be listed there. Part of that reason is without messing up the other parts of the course shell, when we present this, if we continue to present 1011 online, we can have the options to do so. And if we don't want to present it online, we haven't really messed up in the weekly materials either. So I hope that's not too confusing. I'm going to stop sharing that one. Okay, I'm just going to pop over here quickly to the other classroom. I'll probably close it at this point. Okay, no, well, nobody else there. No harm. I'll just keep it open. All right. So did we gain anybody? Hi, class. There we are. And anybody have a question other than, where's my material? It's still forthcoming. And I do apologize, but you have all tried to jump through and keep in touch with everything as best as possible, and I definitely appreciate that. I'm just checking if I see, is Praline in the classroom? Praline, yes, you are there. Ah, Samuel, do you have a question, Samuel? You can put your microphone on if it's an easier one.
Yes, so under week 2 module, I see a couple documents on there beneath the sheep's breeds PDF, and one of them is not working, the link for the Animal Protection Act, so I'm just not sure if that was needed now or
Okay.
at a later time.
I will check the link.
Okay, thank you.
They've probably been there a couple years, so check link to
All right.
Animal Protection Act.
Thanks.
Thank you for, and those are the things that are really great to kind of send me an email on or even a text. So I appreciate that. And that also gives me a heads up to double check all those. All right. I got Praline. Is Irma? Irma, did you make it into the classroom? Irma? I don't see Irma yet. I got Praline checked off. Crystal K. Alyssa L. Jonathan Lawson. I have Maricris. I got you. Minerva. Okay. I think I got most everybody else. Doni Brooke. Assigning reading requirements from the books. So on the syllabus, there should be, it should be clear on the syllabus. Well, let me come back over there because you're asking the question. Let's go back to, I'm sharing an application. Let me come back to the Chrome tab. Let me come in here. Well, let's check the syllabus. That's where the reading should be. So when we go to syllabus, you should be able to see this page. I open up the syllabus, and it's very long, 11 pages. But if we scoot all the way down, nobody gets seasick. I'll let you know when we're at the bottom. Okay. So on the syllabus toward those last pages, there is the weekly topic and reading. So anytime you see MT, it is medical terminology, textbook, clinical veterinary language, and VP is readings from the veterinary assistant. So last week you should have read chapter 3 in medical terminology book and chapter 1 in the veterinary professional, and that actually gives additional background to all the PowerPoints and making sense. And that's also where some of the homework or exercises will, of course, come from, is in those chapters. So this week it is chapter 2 in the medical terminology book. And trying to see, oh, okay, and chapter 1 is next week. And then chapters 5, 21, and 22. Now, again, that sounds like a lot. Some of those chapters are 2 pages long. So look at the PowerPoints. When I get my lecture talking over the PowerPoints done, listen to that, hear the important parts, take it back to the textbook, and then between that, you should be able to complete any homework assignment and also be able to complete quizzes. Remember those participation pages. The items on those participation pages play 80% of the time right into the quiz material. So if you take the time to look at the participation page for week 1 and week 2 then, and match those up to their appropriate areas of PowerPoints, PDF files, and videos and other things that are in the learning area for the coursework and the chapters, then you should be pretty good on being ready for the quizzes. So yes, the readings are here at the end, and you can also see, so quiz 1 was supposed to be kind of just opened up this week, so you practice your material and then the quiz is there. I'll probably open quiz 2 a little bit earlier to give a little longer time than on that. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Come back over here. All right, let's see. And email the homework. Let's just keep it simple. I'll say for week 1, email homework. I'm typing. Okay. So go ahead, because I know several of you have already emailed it. Go ahead for week 1 and just email the homework page to me, ehamilton9@cnm.edu. But wait on week 2. I'm going to try to get that up as a journal entry. So hold on week 2, okay, on the participation page. That's pretty good. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take us out and hopefully in the next 30 minutes be able to go through the introduction of medical terminology. Okay. Again, I'm going to ask by somebody's microphone, do you see a big yellow slide in front of you saying assembling a framework?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Okay, excellent. So this is from week 2 in the medical terminology side. Actually, the main PowerPoint, the PDF file that is there. The other 2 is to print out or have access to, download and have access to the prefix list and the suffix list. And I think that there's one other little item behind there. But I'm going to try to take us through this in this session to give a good cohesive look of how to deal with medical terminology. Now again, I'm not actively watching my chat. I kind of can see it at the very bottom of my screen. If you have a major question, just pipe in through your microphone, okay? So when we talk about medical terminology, it really is like coming into a different language. And it is really more of looking at it as being investigators. And in a sense, how do we go into a crime scene? You gather information, you collect evidence in a sense, and then you try to come together and make a good judgment call. Terminology structure is quite a bit like that. It is taking pieces of information that you may know, piece them all together, and form a new word. Okay? So it is very similar in that stage. And learning veterinary medical terminology, it's like working this crime scene. Let's get some investigation. Let's work this together, and let's learn the pieces. And there's kind of a general process, a good logical step, number one step, number two step, and so forth, to understand how to come through and form those words. Okay? And we want to be like the cat with the spectacle. All right. So in this understanding of the structure, okay, we're going to be looking at various parts of what make up a medical term. And I'm just going to have us look for a second at the word terminology on the top here. So anytime you see an O-L-O-G-Y, that logy, that ology kind of ending, means the study of something. And when you look at the word term, okay, that's making you think of words or something on that order. So terminology becomes the study of words, or there's the structure of words. So when we look at a medical terminology, we do a very similar dissection of the term. We go to the end of the word first. That's the suffix. And then we go to the beginning of the word that maybe is a prefix, or it might be what we call the root. And all of that's going to be introduced here in the next few slides. And then we actually form the definition by starting at the end of the word. So going back to terminology, if I was to put a definition up about terminology, it is the study of terms. Okay? Study of the structure of those terms. It's not term study of, it is study of the structure. So we go to the end of the word first. So we piece these parts together, and then that's how we figure out what the medical term is. That's why I really think if you can get to a printer, I highly, highly recommend that that prefix and suffix list is printed out, that you have that to reference as you continue on through the next weeks. I am still working about how we're going to pronounce terms. I may break the class up a little bit into some smaller groups and have a special 20 minutes together and say, please read this out of your textbook. Let's pronounce some terms together. It's a little hard with maybe 20 in the classroom. All right, spelling is completely important. And I will really be watching your spelling, and when you do the quizzes, there may be choices of which of these is the correct word, which is the correct spelling of a word. And changing only one or two letters may completely change the meaning of that word. Examples here, and I'm going to say these words, and I recommend that probably with your microphones off, that you say these then with me. I will repeat each of these a couple times. But it's hepatoma versus hematoma. Hepatoma versus hematoma. So a hematoma is actually, so oma is sort of like a growth of, or a lot of times we think of it in a cancerous kind of area, but a growth, an abnormal growth. Heme, H-E-M, refers to blood. So something about an abnormal growth in a blood area, a vessel, hematoma. Or it is quite often a pocket of blood. We see that in an ear hematoma. Hepatoma, okay, so hep refers to liver, so that would be a hepatoma, is meaning that it's going to be something about a growth on the liver. So if you were to do surgery and you were the receptionist taking that client in and you inadvertently wrote hepatoma instead of hematoma, everybody else may start avoiding the head of that dog, and they click on the belly because they think that's where the surgery is going to be. Oh, but you blew it by one letter. That's why the spelling is absolutely critical. Urethra versus ureters. Urethra versus ureters. So ureters actually come down from the kidneys to the bladder, and the urethra is what exits out from the bladder. So again, where is the medical problem? And the last one here, they actually sound the same. Ileum and ileum. But ileum is actually a portion of the small intestine. So that's in the abdomen. Ilium is a portion of the hip, of the pelvis area. So sometimes I think hip, pelvis has a bunch of eyes kind of in it, and that makes me think ilium, ilium, is in the hip, the pelvis area, and ileum, that has that E, I think of intestine with E's in it, makes me think of the intestine, small intestine. So again, one letter difference might make an assistant or a doctor look at the totally wrong area of the animal to do a surgery or to see what the client's complaint is. So spelling is absolutely critical. Now we're going to come into the parts of the words, the portions of the words, okay? So our first part that we're going to look at is the prefix, the beginning of the term. And that is the function, if you were to say what is the definition of prefix, located at the beginning of the term to slightly alter the meaning of the term. And it will complement what we call the root, which will be introduced here in another couple slides. Okay? Prefix. There are four kind of indications that the prefix can do. And you need to know these, and this is a quiz question. And again, quite often, items that are in bold or underlined or italics are going to become quiz questions. And if we would have had time to look at the participation page, prefix, definition of, and what does it mean, what does it indicate, would probably be on that participation page. So prefixes indicate location, time, quantity, or condition. So if we think of the term, well, we'll look down here. And as the points 3 and 4 say, it can stand alone, but it's not complete. And it is always denoted when you write it out in medical terminology listing, you always put a hyphen after it. If I was to say, what is the prefix meaning for the term after? The time. See, that's a timing. That's a time part. After. And you just write P-O-S-T with no hyphen, you do not get all the credit. You have to train yourself that prefixes are always written with that hyphen. Okay? So examples. So pre, these are examples of time. Pre, meaning prefix, before the word, okay? Or post-surgical. That means after a surgery procedure, after something. We have the term endo. So we're talking about a prefix can indicate a location. Endoparasites. Parasites that are inside the body. Inside is a location. Ecto, and remember the hyphen, E-C-T-O with a hyphen to actually write it out, means outside. So if you have ectoparasites, they are parasites like fleas and ticks that are on the outside of the body. So prefix, beginning of a term, indicates location, time, quantity, or condition. And if you look at that prefix list when you print it out or save it, you will notice that the prefixes are divided into those categories. That helps it for memorization. Okay, dividing them into categories. Here is a prefix about number or quantity. And I will again say that the words that are shown through the PowerPoints are, or the PDF files, are very high candidates, likely candidates to be on the quiz or the test later on. So really kind of focus on these. Not only these, but do focus on these, okay? So if we have a prefix for a number or a quantity, like we have by, and remember there should be the hyphenate when it stands alone and you're mentioning it, or die, meaning two. So bifurcate means split something into two directions. Dichromic, having two colors. Numbers for 4 would mean tetra or quadri. So quadriplegic, paralysis of all 4 limbs. Tetradactyly, 4 digits on a foot. And then you have for half or partial. Hemialgia, semi-conscious. Hemialgia, pain affecting half of the body. Algia means pain. Hemi is half. So it's pain affecting half of the body. Semi-conscious, you're only half awake. Hopefully you're not all semi-conscious on me. Okay? Multi or poly, much or many, like multi-articular, and polypathia. I'm going to read these through one more time. If you're feeling like you're really lost, say them with me. So starting at number 1, bi and die, we have bifurcate, bifurcate, dichromic, dichromic. For the number 4, it's quadri and tetra. Quadriplegic, tetradactyly. Dactyl means toes. So quadriplegic, tetradactyly. Hemi and semi, meaning half. Hemialgia and semi-conscious. So semi-conscious you're probably more familiar with. But if you need to put a medical terminology definition, remember that means only half awake. Hemialgia, semi-conscious. The multi and poly, multi-articular pertaining to many joints, and polypathic, polypathia, presence of many diseases at the same time. So an illustration of a prefix location, okay, peri, we already kind of said surrounding or around, periosteum, periosteum. So remember, when you write peri alone, P-E-R-I, if the question was, what is the prefix meaning surrounding or around, and you're supposed to type in P-E-R-I, you need to put the hyphen. If we're actually connecting it to a word, then of course you don't put the hyphen, like periosteum. Okay? Ect and ecto, outside, mean ectoparasites. And infra, below or beneath, meaning infraspinatus. Infraspinatus, the muscle that's located on the lateral caudal aspect of the scapula. So it's located, so it's a location, infra. Where is it at? It's located on the lateral caudal, so it's a location. A condition or a status, okay? So we have like malodorous, malodorous. So my mother was born in Austria, as in Europe, Austria. And every now and then my half Austrian mouth finds it hard to get the words out 100% correct. But I will do my best always. Malodorous, okay? So I like to blame my mother for that one. Anyway, mal meaning something that's diseased or bad. Malocclusion. Maybe you had to go to a dentist and your bite was not correct and they put braces on you. And then you went to the orthodontist, okay? Because you had a malocclusion, an abnormal bite. So notice it's abnormal or bad, okay? Cata, C-A-T-A with the hyphen, meaning down or reverse, backward, or degenerative. Okay? So catabiosis, degenerative biological changes occurring in cells as they age after maturity. Now remember that this PowerPoint is available as the PowerPoint already. I opened it up last night. Take this to chapter 3, I believe it is, or chapter 2, one of those two, the reading, and you can match it up. Okay? So I'm not going at the speed that to give you time to write everything down right this moment. Time, prefix regarding time. Okay? So we have bradycardia. This is one we use quite frequently. Okay, Brady, meaning abnormally slow, bradycardia, abnormally slow heart rate. And then we have post, P-O-S-T, like post-surgical, meaning after surgery, or pre-treatment, before, P-R-E, before. Okay? I know this is throwing a lot at you. I'm going to kind of trying to see where we are on number of slides. We're about halfway. We should be okay. I should be able to manage to get through this. Okay. Everybody hang in there. So that was illustrations of prefixes. Remember that they can do, they indicate various things. And then in the same way, suffixes are also going to indicate various items. I'm actually looking at my flashcards that I have. So as a refresher, the prefixes, I'm just going to slide it back here before we start that. Prefixes indicate quantity, so you may have numbers of things. Location, where is it at in the body? Or at sort of in, yeah, so a location, ecto or endo, and so forth. And then a condition or a status, and it can also indicate time. And again, I highly recommend that as you learn prefixes, you kind of leave them in those major categories. And if you walk away with nothing else from this class, but being able to understand how prefixes, and now our next group, suffixes are divided into these categories, that's why I think those two sheets are really extremely important to have at your fingertips, because if some of you are applying to the program in the fall, you will see those terms being utilized in anatomy and physiology, and utilized in directional terms for restraint, and where you're going to do an injection, and timing terms, and things like that. So if you have those lists of prefixes and suffixes, you will be a long ways along in being able to understand how to be able to actually make the definition for a word that you don't know yet. So prefix at the beginning of a term, and now we come to the suffix, which is at the end of the term, okay? When you write a suffix alone, yes, it also has a hyphen, but the hyphen comes before it. Prefix, the hyphen comes afterwards. But with a suffix, you're going to put the hyphen before. And again, the suffix, the function is to slightly alter the meaning of the term, complementing the term. Okay? It determines if the term will be a noun, an adjective, or another type of word. So the suffix determines what part of language it is. And usually, and of course, there's always, nothing is 100%, okay? But usually it will indicate 4 things also. So if you started doing a little bit of an outline, you have prefix, 4 different things, okay? Because condition and status kind of fall under one category. Suffix, we have 4 indications: a procedure, a disease, a condition, or a disorder. And now we'll have some of those examples. And a suffix, again, cannot stand alone. It requires either or a combination of a prefix and or a root. And again, I mentioned is denoted by a hyphen before it. Okay, so we have some examples here. So hyphen, pathy, P-A-T-H-Y, meaning disease. And some of these will be utilized in terms in just another slide. Hyphen ectomy, E-C-T-O-M-Y, versus an otomy. There are 2 different procedures there, okay? So, but that would be a surgical removal of something. You have an ovariohysterectomy. We are taking out the ovaries and the uterus. So surgical removal of something. Itis, hyphen, I-T-I-S, meaning inflammation. And the last one on this example is dynia, hyphen, with D-Y-N-I-A, hyphen dynia, meaning pain. Okay, so understand the 5 rules here, what the definition is, where it's located, that the suffix determines what type of word it is, noun, adjective, or so forth. In the 4 items that it usually indicates: procedure, disease, condition, or disorder. It cannot stand alone. It requires another terminology part with it, at least one, and it's denoted by that hyphen before it. So an example here about the difference between a noun and an adjective. Of course, you should know what the definition of noun is, okay? Part of speech used to name a person, place, thing, quality, or action, and can function as the subject or object of a verb. All right? Adjective modifies the noun, okay? So some of our suffixes that we use in English are like able. Are you teachable? Teachable. So able, able, hyphen A-B-L-E, meaning that you're able to do something. Teachable. O-U-S, hyphen E-R, and hyphen E-S-T. Okay? So now we're going to look at some examples of the suffix versus a noun use or an adjective use. Okay, so that suffix changes what type of word it is. So you need to know the word cyano. So pretty soon, in the next slide or so, you will understand that when you see the words or the letters C-Y-A-N with a forward slash and an O, that we are actually referring to a root word with a combining vowel. It'll make sense in a moment. Okay, I'm shaking my head yes to you all. It'll make sense. But cyano means cyan is blue. So cyanosis, okay, this is a condition of a blue discoloration. And that's a noun in that way. Cyanosis. That would be what the doctor might write down as the diagnosis for the case. The animal has cyanosis. Now we may have to decide why he has cyanosis. But an adjective with cyano is cyanotic. So the TIC is a different kind of suffix, and that means pertaining to something and pertaining to a blue color. So if we lift up the lip on an animal and he's bluish in the gums, then we say he's cyanotic. But the doctor may say, we have a condition of cyanosis, and now I'm going to have to run some tests. So cyanosis is a noun, cyanotic is an adjective. And you notice that one of them is a condition of something, and the other was pertaining to. And again, that's how I would suggest that you study your suffixes in these groups. Okay? Going back to the 5 parts, procedure, disease, condition, 4 parts, pardon me, procedure, disease, condition, and disorder. So ilio equals the ilium, part of the pelvic bone. So a noun would be ilium. The adjective that refers to a certain part of the hip bone or the pelvis is iliac. We quite often say it's the iliac crest, muscles attached there. And it's important anatomically to understand that. But the part of the bone itself of the pelvis is ilium, the noun. So just understand that the suffix can change those. Now we look at procedures, suffix terms for procedures. We have ectomy, surgical removal of something. We got a patient here getting prepared for surgery. Appendectomy, appendectomy. So append refers to the appendix. Appendectomy would be the surgical removal of the appendix. Now notice that that definition goes to the end of the word first and then to the beginning. We don't say it is appendix surgical removal. We don't say that. We say as a definition is the surgical removal. We look at ectomy and then go to the beginning of the word, append, okay, appendectomy, and we say it's the surgical removal of the appendix. Mastectomy, mastectomy, okay, sometimes it's hard to look at these. I kind of want to put that ectomy ending separate, but it's mastectomy, surgical removal of the breast or mammary gland. Hyphencentesis, this is a surgical puncture of something. So cystocentesis is a surgical puncture into the urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is called a cyst or cysto, okay, to remove urine. If you do a thoracocentesis, that is surgical puncture into the thorax to remove fluid. Thoracocentesis. Okay, so this was a procedure terms. Now we look at a suffix with some disease terms. And again, these are not all the suffixes that you need to know. In fact, that's what you're going to be building on in the course of the next 12 weeks, is a whole big list, nearly that whole list on that suffix or the prefix list that's behind this week's information. So a disease, pathy, hyphen pathy, P-A-T-H-Y, meaning disease, like neuropathy. So sometimes we kind of change how that word is pronounced. It's not neuropathy, it's neuropathy, pathy. Osteopathy, disease of the bone or disease of the nervous system. And thinking about disease, we have the hyphen P-H-Y-T, a pathological growth. We have the lower cat here, the yellow cat, has circular lesions, which are ringworm or dermatophyte lesions from a fungal infection. Okay, so dermato, meaning skin, phyte is a pathological growth. So superficial fungi found on the skin or a pathological growth on the skin. Osteophyte, osteophyte, a small bony abnormal growth. So those are diseases. Now we look at suffixes of conditions. And we have hyphen OSIS. This one is used a lot. It means that there is a condition, process, or action, and the disease or abnormal condition. So we have on the photograph, we have a little pug. They're going to be prone to this condition with his eyeball that is all swollen and red. The right eyeball of that pug is swollen and red. And we call that a proptosis. Okay, so propt is the displacement of something, and osis is that condition of. So it's a condition of the eye being out of the orbit. That's a long definition out of 2 parts of words. Proptosis. Hyperkeratosis. Hyperkeratosis. The next one here in item number 1. Increased growth. Increased growth of the horny layer of the skin. So sometimes you will look at an animal's paw and it looks all spiky instead of smooth. That is hyperkeratosis. Increased growth. And then we have hyphen ION. Again, we're looking at conditions. Okay, this is a state or a condition like concussion. A state where the brain has received a shaking injury. Okay, state or a condition or an action. ION, hyphen ION. Now I mentioned that combining form. So just as a brief reminder, suffixes can actually do 4 things, indicate 4 things. They can indicate a procedure, a disease, a condition, or a disorder. And again, the end of the word, that suffix, will dictate what part of speech the word is, a noun or an adjective or another grammatical part. Noun and adjective are quite often what we see. So we've looked at prefixes and suffixes. We're moving along. I think I'm in a pretty good time frame here. A combining form is the next part in our speech area, in medical terminology. And this is what you will start seeing in the next oncoming weeks, is we will look at a specific area of anatomy and be introducing you to combining forms for that area of anatomy or a system, okay? So the combining form is a root with a combining vowel. Most of the time that vowel is an O, but there are rules that go along with that, just like there is in other spelling rules in the English language, which makes so much sense anyway. But just bear with it, learn it, and do it. Okay? So in most cases, the combining form is used in a term with 2 or more roots and or suffixes. And that combining form cannot stand alone. It requires a suffix at least, maybe a prefix, but a suffix to complete the term. All right, all that sounds very confusing. All right, so you're combining form with a vowel. Chondro, C-H-O-N-D-R, chondra, chondro, with that /O is the combining form, meaning it stands for cartilage. And that combining vowel is the O. Osteo, oste means bone, with the /O is the combining vowel form with the vowel O, meaning bone. Leuco, like leukocyte, white blood cell. Leukopenia, not enough white blood cells. Leuco, L-E-U-K, /O, meaning white, and a combining vowel is O. So that /O after each of those is what makes it a combining form. So now, because we talked with that first, we look at the root, okay? I'm seeing where I am. I think I'm still good for time. Okay, that root. So we've had a prefix, a suffix, prefix at the beginning of words, suffix at the end, the combining form that can be utilized to sometimes make the English language write better or roll it out of our pronunciation better, or two roots together. So the root is the essential meaning or essence of the term, and there can be more than one root. The root is in the middle of the term and can be attached to a prefix, suffix, or other roots. Now, of course, we say in the middle of the term, but if there's no prefix, then it is the starting of the term. Understand that? And the root cannot stand alone. You will learn them kind of in their singleness, in their aloneness, but it always has to be connected to at least a suffix, if not another root and a suffix, or in the middle between a prefix, a root, and a suffix, or multiple roots and a suffix. Okay? However, it does not need a prefix to complete the term. So roots, going back to that last one, osti. Now notice there's no /o. The /o makes it the combining form. So if I ask you what is the root for bone, and you write osteo, you just gave me the combining form. Technically, that's a wrong answer. The root for meaning bone is osti, O-S-T-E. Chondra, C-H-O-N-D-R for cartilage, C-H-O-N-D-R. Leuk, L-E-U-K for white, leuk, L-E-U-K. And heme or hem, hematoma, hemolysis, talking about the study of hematology, the study of blood. So H-E-M, heme. Those are roots. And the combining vowel then, so a combining vowel. So you write the, I'm going to take you back here. Hang on, don't get sick. Combining form always puts it with it, or I will say 99% of the time we'll put it with an O, the /O, the combining form. But when we actually want to spell it, we might change that. So there is a combining vowel which is attached to the root and used to connect two or more word parts. It primarily serves to make the term easily pronounced or more easily pronounced. Okay? The most common vowel used is an O, followed by the next most common vowel is an A. And it's used to connect. So your combining vowel is used to connect two or more roots. It also is used to connect a suffix when the suffix begins with a consonant. Okay? So you need to have some basic English behind this. And if the suffix begins with a vowel, then the combining vowel is dropped. So item number 3 are rules for the use of the combining vowel. And all of this, again, is in your textbook in the appropriate chapter. So examples are osteoarthritis. So itis, inflammation of. So we go to the end of the word. We say inflammation of the bones and joints. If you only have arthritis, it is only the inflammation of the joints. Okay? But osteoarthritis means it's inflammation. So we go with our definition to the end of the word, then to the beginning of the word. So osteoarthritis, inflammation of the bones and joints. Histopathology, so logi, study of something. Histo is tissue. Path means diseases. So this is the study of the tissue of tissue diseases. Panleukopenia, this is a disease we see in, well, in cats is a specific disease, but it can also just be a diagnostic term. Panleukopenia. So enia or penia, P-E-N-I-A, is the meaning the deficiency of. So we look at that suffix, meaning deficiency of, pan, meaning number, so that is a prefix, P-A-N, with a hyphen it would be, if it was standing alone. So deficiency of all, and leuc, meaning leukocytes, white blood cells. Okay, I think I'm just looking ahead here. Okay, down to 3 slides. So putting it all together. So you want to learn the meaning of the various parts of that medical term. Okay, so when you approach a medical term, train yourself. And this is where you're going to be doing exercise after exercise and homework after homework. You are going to go to the suffix first. Then if there is a prefix, you deal with the prefix. And then finally, you go to the middle with the root or the combining vowels or forms. Train yourself to go to the suffix. Going back to the word terminology, study of terms, study of how terms work, terminology. Remember that not all terms follow these rules, although 99% I will say do, okay? So there are some, and your book points those out, words that defy the rules. Oh, they're the bad guys. Okay, so some examples. This is starting to show you how you are going to be trained in this class and how typically medical terminology goes together, how you actually write out this information. So if your word is prognosis, you're going to start looking at your helps. You go to the suffix, which is gnosis, hyphen G-N-O-S-I-S. And in the parentheses, you write the definition of that suffix, knowledge. Pro is a prefix, P-R-O, before. So it's P-R-O with a hyphen, and in the parentheses, the definition of that, before, and that is your prefix. There is no combining form, and there is no root, but remember, a prefix and a suffix cannot stand alone, but they can form a word. So this is prognosis is the action of the prior knowledge or predicting an outcome of an abnormal condition. Prognosis. What is the prediction of how the course of this disease is going to go? Chondrology. Okay, chondrology. C-H-O-N-D-R-O-L-O-G-Y. We have our hyphen L-O-G-Y that is our suffix, meaning the study of something. There is no prefix, but you still make note of it. Same way as in prognosis. You would write this out 100% by telling me you have considered, is there a combining form? Is there a root? Is there a combining vowel? There are none. You write that down. The same way, you write the word prefix and you say, there is none. Okay, no prefix. Chondro, C-H-O-N-D-R, /O is the combining form. Chondra is your root, meaning cartilage, and the O is the combining vowel. So take your time to study this. And then our last one, chondropathology. All right, so we got a suffix, we go to the end, knowledge of. There is no prefix, but we have 2 different roots. We have chondro and patho, with chondra, meaning cartilage, path, diseases are the roots, and the O happens to be the same combining vowel. Chondropathology, study of disease of the cartilage. At the bottom, and I think if you do a hyperlink, I believe that will work. I'm not going to play it, but it really is a cute little song. Okay, that was a lot. I stopped sharing. We are down to the last couple minutes here. Any general question? Let me just see if we can do a little bit of a quick little ending here. I'll try to make a multiple choice question. Hang on here, if I can type. I'm still having problems typing. Okay, we're working on the question. Okay. All right, you're going to answer this question as a little bit. A prefix can indicate which of these. Only one of them is correct. Bum, 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 bum. I should have a little timer clicking off. Think about, what can a prefix do? Bum, 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 bum. How boring was I? Bum, bum, bum. We still got a lot of non-committals. So can a prefix indicate a procedure? Can a prefix indicate a disease? Can a prefix indicate a quantity? We've got 6 people with still no response to the poll. There we go. It's growing. It's growing. I am going to go ahead and stop our poll. Yes, it can indicate a quantity. That is the correct answer. All right, let's try another one. Oh, let's do a yes, no. All right, another poll question here. Can a suffix indicate a condition? It's just a yes or no. Suffix, can it indicate a condition? Bum, 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 bum. We got 8 people, 7, okay, we're growing. Da, 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 da. Couple more seconds. All right. And I'm going to end it to say, yes, that is correct. And I'm going to do one more question here. Okay, give me a second. I got to do a... Okay, your question is, which of the following is the proper way to write a combining form? Which of these, only one of them is the absolute proper way to write a combining form? This is dealing with roots and combining vowels, the combining form of that root. We've got several non-committals at this point. All right. It's coming. It's coming. Yes. Huh. So, okay. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end this. All right. I want to try one more question because I'm trying to figure out how this works. Let's just do this would be a yes/no question. Okay. Here we go. So was this approach today helpful? Okay. So I'm not actually sure what you can see when you see this. I'm curious, do you guys, somebody can type me an answer, do you see numbers in the responses? Or do you just have a yes or no on your side?
We just have a yes or no on our side.
So when I hit this little button, now you can see it. All right. So I'm learning how these tools work. Okay, we're all in this together. So hopefully this was a good. I'm sorry, it went just a touch over an hour. We're just at an hour. I hope that gives you a good jump about what you're looking at in medical terminology. I will update you through an announcement when I have some of the other, both for first week and second week, lecture parts done behind with the PDF files to hopefully bring more experiences like this together without having to spend 4 hours in the classroom. And also then those participation pages and how week number 2 will be entered as a journal assignment. So keep up with the work. Remember that 2 quizzes are open, but make sure that you've done enough study in week 1 material before you do them. Unless there's any other questions, we will come back here next Tuesday at 3 p.m. All right, and I'm going to stop the recording. I will stay here a few minutes, so I have stopped the recording. So if you have anything else that you want to type into the text box, we can still do that. Otherwise, you can exit out, and I will exit out here in a few minutes. Thank you for your work in the course. Okay, and I think I got everybody's names that are still here. Okay. Ryan, I make sure that he was checked off. I'm checking him off now. Okay. Bye-bye.